Hi there. Today I want to answer a question I get so many times every single week, and that is, what practice has worked best for you, Tanya? It's like, how did you calm down your nervous system? How do you deal with flashbacks? All these kind of questions. How do you deal with shame and anxiety? And people say, I tried so many things. I tried the breathing exercises, mindfulness, I did EMDR, and nothing seems to work. Okay. First off, when you try things and they didn't work for you, what do you make that mean about you, about the situation? Is your mind telling you things like, oh gosh, I'm just too broken, I'm too damaged beyond repair, like I often said, or I just don't do things properly. Or here's a good one, I am different. What normally works for other people doesn't work for me. I was there too, right? The examples of mine and what I hear from you guys, this is a mind chatter. But what if we can park this chatter aside, right? And really just look at that situation neutral. You tried an approach, give yourself some credit that you stepped outside your comfort zone, that you had the courage and the willingness and the determination and the patience and all of that good stuff to actually try something out. Give yourself credit for that, and then look at it. Okay, it didn't work. Why is that? And often I found is, especially for myself, at the beginning of the healing journey, I was so not in tune with my body. I did not know what I actually needed or what felt good for me. Right? So I invite you to look back in the last week or the last couple of months. When were the moments when you felt a little bit calmer, or perhaps a little bit more joyous, or a bit more relaxed? When were those moments? Let's really think back. And then check in with yourself. What were you doing then? Because this is giving you cues. This is giving you cues. Okay? Because every approach that's out there is going to work for somebody. But there's no approach that works for everybody. We're all so unique. So what was it that you were doing when you had that moment where you felt a little bit more okay, or a little bit free, or more, or perhaps even safe, or more connected? Were you out in nature? Right? Were you with other people? Or did you have a quiet moment with yourself? Were you doing something creative? Were you being active? They're giving you ideas of what your body is actually needing in this moment. Right? I have a lot of friends and some of my clients, were past clients too, who loved Zumba classes. That was the best way for them to calm down their nervous system, have some fun, and they just loved it. Like, I watched Zumba classes and it looked like a lot of fun, and I even tried it. But you might be like me, my nervous system had a whole freak out. It's not my thing, right? And that was like perhaps nearly 10 years ago that I tried. And it's really curious that right now I'm actually often thinking about this again, having that kind of movement and dance, because there's another thing about approaches. It's not just that no approach works for everyone. Approaches also, or the approaches that work for you best, also change as you heal, as you move into different phases or stages, and even as your life changes, right? We get older as well. And I think our brain needs new things. Sometimes we get bored about this. So sometimes we're trying out practices and people say to me, hey, I've used to use a mindfulness exercise, for example, and it worked beautiful. It always helped me in those kind of situations, but it no longer works. What's happening? What's wrong with me? And people say, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You just have outgrown that practice. You've healed, you moved on, you moved along. You're kind of craving something new. And the beautiful thing is there there's a gazillion things out there. It's endless, really, because every approach that's out there that you hear about in YouTube videos, whether it's hear from your therapist or your coach that you're working from the books that you read, not only are they ideas, but you can also tweak them to make them your own, right? It's limitless. If you're finding yourself in a situation where you feel like, oh, I don't know what to do, it's like, you take a deep breath and think, okay, can I bring some curiosity to this? Can I bring some willingness to try something new? And stick with those themes, like look back the last weeks or couple of months. What were there some moments that actually, or what were you doing in those moments when you were feeling better, and then build on them, use them. It might only work for a short time, it might work for a long time, but what it never means, if an approach doesn't work for you, that you're too damaged. Or what I often hear people say, like, complex PTSD is a permanent brain damage and it's just, but that's it for life, you know, I need to take medication for the rest of my life and my life's just ruined. Okay, this is not true. It's so heartbreaking when I hear that. It makes me so sad. As you may know, I used to work in research, medical research, for a couple of decades, and I was kind of a little bit obsessed about all the neuroscience and knowing all about the latest research that they have on complex PTSD and how childhood trauma affects our brain development throughout childhood. So I've read so many research papers on this, and, you know, especially the ones where they use the functional MRIs, where they really notice or identify which kind of areas of the brain are working too hard and which ones are not working hard enough, and that's why we have those symptoms that we have. But how people often interpret those findings is that this is evidence of their brokenness, this is evidence of their damage, and they feel like this is damaged for good, that they cannot change that. And that is not the case, guys. It's really not. Our brain has tremendous capacity to change right till the very last moment of your life. We can change that, you know. And we have evidence for that too, right? Where people completely turned their life around, and when they go back and have other MRIs, brain scans like that, where they show it's really changed. The areas we're working too hard, they kind of settle down a bit. And the way people feel within their body is completely different. The way they interact with other people, the way they can connect, the way they can focus on work, right? This is a big one. Being able to focus. This is huge in all areas, right? In whether this is just having a conversation with a friend, or whether this is at work or trying to study or trying to fill out a form. You know, my ability to focus was not there for so long, but I got it back. I really want you to understand that you can get those things back once you find the right kind of practices that work for you, that resonate with you, that fit you where you are at right now in this moment, right? It needs to be really tailored to you, and this is so important. This is what therapists and coaches often don't get. We can't use some kind of cookie cutter strategy that works for everyone who has complex PTSD. No, that does not work. It needs to be individualized and tailored to you, because you're a very unique person. You have very unique likes and dislikes, and just we're complex human beings. So one of the key things in the healing, as I said, is becoming more in tune with yourself, being able to feel more connected to your body, being able to listen to the messages that your body is giving to you, and trusting on them and acting on them. Right? That is all part of healing. So please, whatever practice you try, give yourself some credit, celebrate yourself for trying that. Don't make that mean anything about you. It's just not the right approach for the right time. Perhaps 10 years down the track, you might love that. It might be the best thing you've ever come across, right? Be open to that too, because I have a practice that I thought 15 years ago, this is just rubbish. I hate it, I don't like it, and now it's one of my go-tos. I do every single day, right? So I'm just saying, but please be gentle with yourself and kind. Bring some love and kindness to yourself there. So, but hope as always, sending you lots and lots of love and rainbows to brighten up the tough times just a little. See ya, bye.